I'm going to take our viewers live now to Tim Wilson.
It's wonderful.
His concession.
Wonderful electorate of Goldstein on such a beautiful Sunday afternoon. And I always say that the sun shines brightly on Goldstein, and we've been able to provide it this afternoon. And while the final result for the election for the federal electorate of Goldstein is not yet known, I am able to report that based on the first batch of postal votes, it seems increasingly unlikely that I'll be in a position to be re-elected as the federal Liberal member for Goldstein. So to save everybody energy or nerves, I'm just formally conceding defeat as the member for Goldstein and acknowledge the victory of my opponent and congratulate them on their success. To carry the trust of a community in the nation's parliament is really the most humbling and incredible privilege and honour. And I've enjoyed that privilege for the past 6 years, as many members before me have had so as well. And I want to thank the people of Goldstein immensely for that privilege that they have given me, as well as the support I have enjoyed from many party members and volunteers who have continued to support me, and of course the community organisations. But I also want to thank so much the staff who I have worked with in the Goldstein electorate office over these past 6 years, who have not just worked to support me, but worked to support our community. Because every day, anyone who's had anything to do with a federal electorate office knows, every day there are issues with immigration matters or NDIS matters, and you need people on the front line who are able to work through those with the bureaucracy and, of course, support me in my capacity as a federal member of parliament. I've always said, even when sometimes you say it out of a confidence, that the measure of a parliamentary career is based not in its length or terms, but it's actually based on outcomes. And I'm really proud for everything that we as a community have achieved over the past few years during my time. But I'm particularly proud of the work that we've done nationally. Within my first year, I defied my own Prime Minister and stopped the ratification of an extradition treaty with the People's Republic of China. Within the second year, we forced the conversation to ensure that we were able to deliver marriage equality for the nation. At the last election, I played a powerful and pivotal role, as did our community and as did millions of Australians around the country, to stop Labor's retiree tax. And in my time as Assistant Minister for Industry, Energy and Emissions Reduction, to kickstart the establishment of Australia's offshore wind industry. And I was very proud to be appointed to that office and that role throughout the government, because it's an opportunity to be part of building Australia's clean industrial future. Now, of course, it's disappointing that I'm not able to go on and play that critical role in building Australia's clean industrial future in this capacity, but you never know what might come along later in the day. But the only final remarks I want to make is to my husband, Ryan, and to say thank you so. I always get emotional when I talk about it. To give my thanks to my husband, Ryan. When we started on this journey, firstly, I couldn't call you that, but more critically, you've been there and sacrificed so much for my service to the nation. And I just want to say, from the depths of my heart, thank you, and I love you.
I love you too.
Sorry. I'll try and compose it.
This is so emotional for you. How are you feeling?
Look, nobody's going to pretend that you're not shattered in events like this, because we've seen a result nationally, but it's not just in Goldstein. You know, if it just happened in Goldstein, you say, okay, well, there's something wrong here, or something wrong with me, I should say more correctly, but we haven't seen that. You know, I went into politics because I believe in the cause of Australia and the success of our nation. And everybody says that, I really mean it. Because in the end, the success of the Liberal project that is Australia is its continuing success to be able to hand down to future generations the benefits of which we inherited, but to build and contribute and grow it and make the nation stronger. And that's at every point what I've tried to do, is take the nation forward together and build its future. And of course, my contribution at this point seems to be ending, but I always want to continue to be able to play a role to be able to continue to do that, because the success of Australia is the success of everybody, and the success of the nation is what we should all want, and I would hope is the motivating factor for everybody who goes into public life. And so it's challenging to face the fact that you may not be able to play the continuing role that you wish to, that you hope to, that you sought, and that it's handed to somebody else. The only thing I can wish them is every success for that privilege that they have now inherited, and not to waste it. And I've talked to so many colleagues today who, former colleagues, but also people who are going to be future colleagues of other Liberal MPs, and said, don't waste the opportunity that you have. I'm immensely proud of the work that I did with the community over the past 6 years, but it's always temporary. We're only custodians of these roles, and you're only one electoral redistribution, election result, or pre-selection away from no longer having that great privilege and that responsibility. So that's how I feel today.
Do you take some personal responsibility for this loss?
Well, as a candidate whose name's on the ballot, you always have to take responsibility for a loss, but I also acknowledge that it wasn't as though it was just existing in our community. The trends that existed here exist in Higgins, exist in Kooyong, exist in Wentworth, exist in Mackellar and North Sydney. So it is what it is. But at the end of your parliamentary career, you ultimately have to look at yourself and say, did you do everything you could with the responsibility and the opportunity you had? And I look at myself in the mirror and I say, without any hesitation, I did that. And I'm immensely proud of everything I've been able to deliver for our community and do for our nation. And nobody can take that away from you.
The disappointment of election 2022 there with Tim Wilson, emotional at times there, the outgoing member for Goldstein. From every election, of course, there's disappointment and there's triumph.